Before we get into the third topic, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this episode, this should be up on Wednesday for YouTube viewers. If you didn't know, Kinda Funny Live 2 is happening this weekend. If you want to go hang out with Henry and I, and possibly even Ricky, go to kindafunny.com/tickets. I believe tickets are still on sale. VIP might be almost sold out. General admission is probably still fine. We're not getting paid by Kinda Funny to do this. I just want you to know that if you want to hang out with us and hang out with a bunch of really cool people, you should go to this really cool event later this week.
Hey, guess what?
What?
I just got the high scoring Kinda Funny Live too.
Henry, what is the other topic that you wanted to bring in today?
I wanted to talk about how movie-based video games have completely disappeared off the map.
Have they, though? That's the thing, is this is a year where 4 video game movies are coming out, right?
No, did I say video game movies?
Yeah.
I meant movie video games.
Oh, so like licensed games,
Yeah.
basically. Okay.
I want to talk about how those have completely disappeared from modern console spaces.
It is interesting, right? Because...
Let's think about back to when we were on our PS2s and it was like, hey, small Barrett, we're going to go to... I just imagine like that's what your parents used to call you. Smaller Barrett. When you were a toddler, you were like Tiny Barrett.
Hey, I'm Little Rick.
Little Barrett. But it's just like, hey, we're going to go to like the Target and pick up a PS2 game. It's going to be behind the glass case.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, okay, is there a new SpongeBob game out?
And then my parents would slap me for liking SpongeBob.
You're an idiot.
Yeah, video game movies. I didn't have video games that were based off of movies. I'm trying to think, because it definitely was like the big era of it was the PlayStation 2.
No, really, the big era of it was the NES, where you had games like Platoon for the NES.
Well, I'm just talking about like when we were growing up,
Yeah.
right? So the big like console when we were growing up, and there were the last time there were a lot of movie video games was the PS2.
Like movies that it's like it feels really weird that there's video games off of it. Like I have the video game version of The Matrix.
That's so fucking weird.
There are like 2 of those.
Jesus Christ, are they any good whatsoever?
I think they're terrible.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. No, the weird thing is like how good Spider-Man 2 is, you know? Like it was amazing that Spider-Man 2 the movie was better than Spider-Man 1, but a sequel video game based off of a movie being any good was like fucking insane.
Yeah.
And so
That
like
game's still a classic.
yeah, and to be honest, like I don't think it's as memorable as Spider-Man 2, but even Spider-Man 3 is really good. And you know,
As long as you're not playing the Wii version like I did.
No, I played the PS2 version like a man. But like you know, the story still sort of sucks, and they bring in like a lot of cool things. Like they bring in they don't call him Killer Croc in this universe. What do they call him?
The Croc?
Is it just the Croc?
Oh, Lizard.
Lizard. There you go. They bring.
I was really confused for a second because I was like, that's Batman?
Yeah, no, I know.
That's
It's
in
like
the DC.
Yeah, I know, because they just got so many fucking similar villains. So the Lizard.
There's a lot of similarities for everyone. Like, we have Green Arrow. Yeah, well, we have Hawkeye. And we're just like, why do you have characters who have arrows?
And then, you know, the entire people on Tumblr are like, people with arrows are so cool. It's like, get the fuck out of here.
Why are there so many
Get
arrow
the fuck out of here, Tumblr. But what I do want to say is like they brought in like the Lizard for Spider-Man 3, and that like those missions were really fun. Just like it was really cool to have sort of like a big open world Spider-Man game where you could just fucking swing around.
Spider-Man 2.
Exactly.
They mastered swinging.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome. But I'm trying to think of
And Ultimate Spider-Man was rad too.
Ultimate Spider-Man was okay.
I really liked that one.
I didn't love it as much as I loved the comic, but I think it was okay. But bringing this back to the topic of like, I don't remember actually as many video games based off of movies as I think I should. Like, do you have any in mind that you want to give a shout out to?
Nacho Libre for the DS.
Jesus Christ, is that really a thing?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Actually, you want to hear one of the biggest mysteries in video gaming?
What?
There was a Mean Girls game released for the DS. There, online, you cannot find a single copy of it.
I knew someone who had that.
A single screenshot of it.
I knew someone who had the Mean Girls DS game.
There's nothing about it online.
That's so weird.
Like, nothing.
What are you trying to do, government? Trying to erase the fact that there's a Mean Girls
Are you
DS?
making Mean Girls for the DS a thing? But it's just like, there were like really weird, like everything on adaptation. Like there were like 57 Shrek games for the Xbox.
Yeah, that's true. I do remember
And the
that.
only
Like
one worth
the
playing
Shrek...
was Shrek Backyard Wrestling.
I remember the Shrek Party game, definitely. But I sort of want to make this more into like licensed video games because I'm having trouble like
Thinking of specific
like
movies.
video games based off of movies. What was the one? It was like a Nickelodeon show too.
Nicktoons Unite.
No,
'Cause
give
I still
me a
own that
second
one.
here. This is gonna be a deep cut, and this is
As told by Ginger.
Here we go.
As told by Ginger, the action RPG.
God, that would be awful. That would be really,
I
really
would
awful.
buy it.
I would buy it. It would be awful. So here's a deep cut. If you don't know this, you didn't really grow up in the early 2000s like we did. Do you remember the show and the video game Tack and the Power of Juju?
Yes, I have the Game Boy Advance one.
Really? Oh my god.
I used to. I threw it out, I think.
What came first? Was that?
I think it was the video game.
Okay. All right. So I guess that isn't. All right. Whatever.
But it's still weird to think about.
Interestingly enough, guess who made that game?
Who?
Avalanche Software, who was recently closed by Disney.
I was really hoping you'd say Naughty Dog.
Every game we talk about today. Hey, guess who made this? Naughty Dog. What the fuck?
You know who made that Atari 5200 controller?
Naughty Dog.
Good thing they stopped doing controllers.
So yeah, like licensed video games were like interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because again, love SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom.
But most of them were terrible.
Most of them were interesting. I remember I didn't own this one, but I remember playing my friend's copy. So the DS
Mean Girls.
Kim Possible game.
Wow.
Yeah. And I remember like playing that and having like
I don't know why,
the
but
control scheme was like the dumbest fucking thing.
I was
ever.
really hoping you'd say, like, I played the DS game for Teacher's Pet.
Oh, here's some good ones though. All right, so I talk about Battle for Bikini Bottom a lot. Whatever. There's another SpongeBob
And you're
game.
disappointed in the Game Grumps playthrough?
I haven't actually watched after the first one because I know they're just gonna bitch and complain about it. After.
They do a lot.
Yeah, I really don't want to see that because I don't think they're giving it like. From what I saw of the first one, they weren't taking the time to actually learn how to play the game.
No, they were just skipping through all the information.
Yeah, so it was just like, all right. But honestly, don't watch Game Grumps Let's Plays of Battle for Bikini Bottom and be like, oh man, this game is shitty because I don't think they're doing it justice.
No. I've never played it, and I know they're not doing it justice.
So anyway, there was a SpongeBob SquarePants game for the Game Boy Advance.
Was it the SpongeBob SquarePants the movie game? Because I have that.
It wasn't the movie game. My cousin had the movie game for the PS2, and I never owned that. But it was like its own separate thing, and I remember like it was like a 2D platformer type of thing, and it was like really frustrating how hard that game was. But another game I had, and I love this, Daredevil for the Game Boy Advance. Let me tell you about Daredevil for the Game Boy Advance.
I'm going to get my water.
Here we go. Here's a good video game that's based off of a movie. Daredevil
Shitty movie.
Daredevil for the Game Boy Advance was sort of based off the movie, but not really. So you play as like the all red suit Daredevil, right? It's none of this like comic like red and yellow, whatever. Or, like
was the first costume?
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't any of that. It was like it was sort of like the movie style because like whenever like he would talk to anybody, it was obviously like sort of like the movie design of the costume. So you're like, okay, so this is sort of based off the movie, I guess. But then like, you know, you're fighting like the Yakuza at one point and you're fighting Elektra and all of these other people. I believe you fight the Hand at one point as well. So I like.
What about the foot?
But I thought that was cool. Of like this random video game that I played in the early 2000s that was like really awful. Gave me knowledge about Daredevil. So when I went into season 2 of Daredevil, I was like, oh, hey, I do know what these guys are about. So it was like the Hand, I believe at one point you fought. And there's like a bunch of like crazy. I think you like the. Do you remember in season 1 of Daredevil the guy who had like the fucking chain thing who like fucked up Daredevil really bad?
I still haven't finished the first season.
Oh
of
my
Daredevil.
god,
I'm lazy.
you got to finish season 1. Season 2, it's like whatever, but season 1, it's worth finishing. But at one point, there's this ninja dude with like a hook thing. I forget his name, but he's in that game, and so there's like a lot of yeah, there's like a lot of weird deep cuts for Daredevil. But here's the thing. So the first time you play it, the final boss is Kingpin, right? And it's sort of set up like you got to fight through this like sort of hotel like thing. And you got to get to his like penthouse or
This
whatever.
is just making me think about how I had the Spider-Man game for Game Boy Advance, and I had an X-Men game.
They're just the same games, but just different layers.
For some reason, Daredevil has webs. He goes like.
I was like, holy shit, this makes a lot more sense now.
I also had an X-Men game, but that one's been lost for like a decade.
So for the final boss is Kingpin. The first time you play him, the first time you fight Kingpin, I want to say it's because they have 2 versions of him. They have the black version from the movies,
Michael Clark Duncan.
Yeah, and then they have the white version from the comics. I always forget which one you had to fight first, but that was always really, really weird to me. Of like, you couldn't just
Decide on one.
just stick to one and sort of just go with it. I don't know.
Couldn't have
Even as a
just
kid, I was like, this is sort of weird. This is sort of weird. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
So Ricky let me borrow a licensed game because he said this game's really good. You'll enjoy it.
Oh God.
I haven't played it yet.
Okay.
Because I'm waiting.
Let me guide you. Let me see if this is actually a good game. Bless you.
I'm okay.
Bless you.
So I haven't played it yet because it's for the GameCube. Right here. Mm-hmm. Don't have a memory card because mine broke.
Okay.
Fairly Odd Parents Breaking the Rules.
I've never played that one. Weirdly enough, I was about to say oddly enough, but I didn't want to make that pun. I didn't want to do it, but I still said it anyway. Weirdly enough, I've never played Breaking the Rules because I'm not a fucking weirdo like Ricky Baldassan.
I never played it, but I have Nicktoons Unite for the PS2.
I remember like I might have touched it. I remember possibly.
I was like, yeah, no.
Possibly playing a demo for it at like a Blockbuster, which is a very old sentence. I feel like I touched it at one point, and I don't remember it being like super bad, but I don't remember thinking like, I don't remember playing the demo and being like, oh, I have to have this now, you know. So I don't know. Take that as you will. I don't think you need I don't think you need a memory card. Just play it once, you'll get it. But that's really about it.
Yeah.
Any other licensed games that you want to give a shout out to?
I just had one in my head, but I just forgot it. It was you know what game I always wanted to play, but I never played?
What?
Because I love the series. Ed, and Eddie, Great Misadventures. Do you remember that one?
I do. I'm trying to remember if I actually owned it, because I remember playing it. I don't think I owned it. I think I borrowed it or something.
Honestly, there's a part of me that loves crappy tie-in games.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, one, they're super nostalgic. But secondly, like, there's something just weird about it. Like, about, like, seeing, like, where they cut corners, where it fell apart.
Yeah, yeah.
And now it's, like, the last time we got licensed games, it's either, like...
It was The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. Well, technically, if you count the Godzilla game that came out for PS4.
No one
But
does.
that's just a PS2 game they put on a PS4. That game was awful.
Or I mean, I guess they still technically have licensed games. It's just like they're not
It's
shown.
all on the iPhone and iPad.
Yeah, that, but also like they're just not like in that same quality as they used to, and they're not like we don't have them as much because Batman Arkham is technically a licensed game, right? But we
And
don't.
Mad Max.
And Mad Max as well. So we don't technically count them as licensed games just because they're on a different. Because I honestly think like even though we love Spider-Man 2, even though I love Battle for Bikini Bottom and all that stuff, I honestly think like the Batman Arkham and even Mad Max are way better than any of the games that came out in the early 2000s. So
PS2
I mean,
just a
Batman
weird
Arkham is
era
an
for
obvious
games.
statement, but like Mad Max, I know is like not as popular. But I
I
would have
really
to
like
say,
Mad Max.
yeah, Mad Max is fucking awesome. Colin Moriarty's game of the century.
Game of the Millennium.
Game of the millennials.
Game of the... For... what?